vomiting, an everyday chief complaint. Often, it ends well. Let's face it, some kid vomiting, an everyday chief complaint. Often, it ends well. Let's face it, some kids, if you look at them wrong, they'll vomit. In the young child, however, vomiting is the great imitator. As a chief and main complaint, vomiting can be anything: gastrointestinal, neurologic, metabolic, respiratory, renal, infectious, endocrine, toxin-related, and even behavioral. So how do we mop up this mess? Today we'll focus on the can't-miss causes of vomiting in the young child. This and more fun fact boluses coming up next.
You make tough calls when caring for acutely ill and injured children. Join us for strategy and support through clinical cases, research, and reviews, and best practice guidance in our ever-changing acute care landscape. This is your Pediatric Emergency Playbook.
Welcome to the...
Hi, everyone. Today I am doing a podcast from a podcast. What we're about to experience from the podcast is what to expect from a child who has been vomiting. So I'm now going to go ahead and play this podcast.
Playbook. I'm your host and coach, Tim Horechko. Vomiting in children carries a broad differential diagnosis. To help us organize things, we'll use an age-based approach. The age groups we'll cover today are the neonate, the infant, and the toddler. Each has specific patterns of illness, and each deserves its own closer look, because once you get into school age and beyond, it's really all about not missing appendicitis, and that deserves its own treatment on another episode. Let's start with the neonate. The neonatal period is the first month of life. Find out when the baby was born. 37 weeks and older is term. Was this a spontaneous vaginal delivery or a cesarean section? Did the baby and mother go home together? Any complications, especially with breathing, with feeding, or infection? There typically isn't much history at this age, so ask a few of these high-yield questions. If you don't ask, you're not going to find out. It always amazes me.
So basically, from a pediatric standpoint, puking in children is not really necessarily a topic that I really wanted to pick, but in this case, I picked it because I feel like it would be best. So I'm going to start out by introducing myself. I am Tanis Shopka. I am very interested in pediatrics and expect to see more videos on this. So welcome. And from what you heard from that podcast is infants, toddlers, and little kids, where I'm actually going to do a little bit of an extra podcast on top of that. So when I think of vomiting in pediatrics, the main concern that would arise for me from a first aid standpoint would be, is the child laying down? Is the child sitting upright? Or is the child prone by the toilet? Where I'm going to start up with that first one. If the child is laying down on the couch and their mommy and daddy are concerned about the child, from a first aid standpoint, I'm not going to be as concerned of that child, because if the child's laying down on a couch with a bowl where he could puke or whatever you want to call it, yelping, whatever. From my standpoint of view, from a first aid standpoint, I'm going to give you a list of things that it could be. It could be stomach flu. It could be periorbital sinusitis. Periorbital, meaning around the eye. Sinusitis, meaning like infection of the sinuses. It could also be caused to appendicitis. It could also be caused just by normal behaviors. But I'm going to put that aside and get into the heart of why do children puke?